Hello, good afternoon, wherever you are. My name is Will Block. I'm the director of this afternoon's performance of Pericles, Prince of Tyre, delivered to you by the, I have a theater degree, delivered to you by the phenomenal students at the NorCal School of the Arts. What you are about to see is a not often performed collaboration between William Shakespeare and George Wilkins. And it's a piece of theater that was largely devised by the ensemble. I actually had very little to do with what you're about to see. So given that information, it didn't feel appropriate for me to then come on and deliver the curtain speech. So I would like to pass it over to the cast that will actually be performing for you this afternoon, who will give you the rundown for how the show is going to go. So over to you, friends.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to NorCal School of the Arts production of William Shakespeare and Wilkins' Pericles, Prince of Tyre.
We want to get this show started as soon as we can, so we'll make this as brief as we can.
We first want to thank the wonderful folks at NorCal Resist for donating their time to come and speak with us about the experience of being a refugee applying for asylum here in the United States.
As you are about to discover, the story we are going to tell you centers around characters who absolutely qualify as refugees. We wanted to make sure that we had as much of an understanding about the real-world implications of our story as we went to work making it. And we are so grateful for the context they provided.
They do phenomenal and vital humanitarian work. If you wish to know more about what they do or how to support them, we encourage you to check out the link to their website that we've included in our video description.
We also wanted to thank you, our parents, for all of the support that you have provided, and stick around after the show. We'll be doing a quick Q&A, so leave your questions in the chat. Thank you. To sing a song that old was sung, from ashes ancient choruses come.
Assuming man's infirmities to glad your ear and please your eyes.
It hath been sung at festivals,
on ember eves and holy ales.
And lords and ladies in their lives have read it for restoratives.
The purchase is to make men glorious.
You born in these latter times, where wits more ripe, accept my rhymes.
And not to hear an old man sing, may to your wishes pleasure bring.
Life would wish, and that I might, waste it for you like taper light.
This Antioch, then, Antiochus the Great built up this city for his chiefest seat, the fairest in all of Syria.
I tell you what mine authors say, this king unto him took a peer, who died and left a female heir, so buxom, blithe, and full of face, as heaven had lent her all his grace.
With whom the father liking took, and her to incest did provoke.
Bad child, worse father. To entice his own is too evil and should be done by none.
Beauty of this sinful dame made many princes thither frame to seek her as a bedfellow.
Which to prevent he made a law, to keep her still and men in awe, that whoso asked her for his wife, his riddle told not, lost his life.
So for her many a wight did die, as yon grim looks do testify. What now ensues to the judgment of your eye, I give my cause, who best can justify?
Young Prince of Tyre, you have at large received the danger of the task you undertake.
I have, Antiochus, and with a soul emboldened with the glory of her praise, think death no hazard in this enterprise.
Bring in our daughter, clothed like a bride, for the embracements of even Jove himself.
Oh, see where she comes, apparelled like the spring. You gods that made me man and sway in love, that have inflamed desire in my breast to taste the fruit of yon celestial tree, or die in that adventure be my helps, that I am son and servant to your will to compass such a boundless happiness.
Prince Pericles,
that will be son to great Antiochus.
Before you stands this fair Hesperides with golden fruit, but dangerous to be touched, for death like dragons here affright thee hard. Yon sometimes famous princes like thyself, drawn by report, adventurous by desire, tell thee with speechless tongues and semblance pale that without covering, save yon field of stars. Here they stand, martyrs, slain in Cupid's wars, and with dead cheeks advise thee to desist from going on death's net, whom none resist.
Antiochus, I thank thee, who hath taught my frail mortality to know itself, and by those fearful objects may prepare this body like to them to what I must. For death remembered should be like a mirror that tells us life's but breath to trusted error. So I bequeath a happy peace to you and all good men, as every prince should do. The riches of whence they came, but my unspotted fire of love for you. Thus ready for the way of life or death, I await the sharpest blow, Antiochus.
Scorning advice, read the conclusion then, which read and not expounded 'tis decreed, as these before you thou thyself shalt bleed.
Of all stayed yet, mayst thou prove prosperous. Of all stayed yet, I wish thee happiness.
Like a bold champion, I assume the lists, nor ask advice of any other thought, other than thoughtfulness and courage.
I am no viper, I am yet I female, on mother's flesh, I sought a husband, much labor, I found that he's father, son, and as the I, mother, wife, yet his child, how they may be, as you will live, as you all live,
Your physic is the last, but oh, you powers that give heaven countless eyes to view men's acts, why cloud you not their sights perpetually, if this be true, which makes me pale to read it? Fair glass of light, I loved you, and could but still, were it not for this glorious casket stored with ill. But now I tell you my thoughts revolt. Good sooth, I care not for you.
Prince Pericles, your time's expired. Either expound now or receive your sentence.
Great king. Few love to hear the sins they love to act. 'Twould braid yourself too near for me to tell it to. Who has a book of all that monarchs do, since he is more secure to keep it shut than shown? For vice repeated is like the wandering wind, blows dust in others' eyes to spread itself. Kings are earth's gods, and vice their laws, their will, and if Jove doth stray, who dare say Jove doth ill? All love the womb of their first being bred, then give my tongue like leave to love my head.
Heaven that I had his head! He hath found the meaning, but I will close with him. Young Prince of Tyre, though by the tenor of our strict edict, your exposition misinterpreting, we might proceed to cancel of your days. Yet hope, succeeding from so fair a tree as your fair self, doth tune us otherwise. 40 days longer we do respite you, if by which time our secret be undone, this mercy shows will joy in such a son. And until then your entertain shall be, as doth befit our honor and your worth.
How courtesy would seem to cover sin when what is done is like a hypocrite. The which is good in nothing but in sight. If it be true that I interpret false, then were it not so bad as with foul incest to abuse your soul. Where now you're both a father and a son by the untimely claspings with your child. Antioch, farewell. One sin I know another doth provoke, murders as near to lust as flame to smoke. Then lest my lie be cropped to keep you clear, by flight or shun the danger which I fear.
He hath found the meaning, for which we mean to have his head. He must not live to trumpet forth my infamity, nor tell the world Antiochus doth sin in such a loathed manner. And therefore, instantly this prince must die. For by his fall, my honor must keep high. Who attends there?
Doth your highness call?
THALIARD, you are of our chamber, and our mind partakes her private actions to your secrecy. And for your faithfulness we will advise you. THALIARD, behold, here's poison, and here's gold. We hate the Prince of Tyre, and thou must kill him. It fits thee not to ask the reason why, but to do it. Say, 'tis done.
My lord, 'tis done.
Enough. With your breath, pull yourself, telling your
My
head.
lord, Prince Pericles is fled.
As thou wilt live, fly after, and thou near return, unless thou say Prince Pericles is dead.
My lord, if I can get him within my pistol's length, I'll make him sure enough. So farewell to your highness.
THALIARD, adieu. Till Pericles be dead, my heart can lend no succor to my head.
So now to Tyre, and to Pericles' court. There must I kill King Pericles, and if I do not, I am sure to be hanged at home. 'Tis dangerous. Well, I perceive he was a wise fellow, and had good discretion, that, being bid to ask what he would of the king, desired he might know none of his secrets. Aye, now do I see he had some reason for it. For if a king bid a man be a villain, he's sworn by the indenture of his oath to be one.
Why should this change of thoughts, the sad companion, dull-eyed melancholy, be my so used a guest as not an hour in the day's glorious walk or peaceful night? The tomb where grief should sleep can breed me quiet. Here pleasures court mine eyes, and mine eyes shun them. And danger which I feared is at Antioch, whose aim seems far too short to hit me here. Yet neither pleasure's arts can joy my spirits, nor the other's distance comfort me. It follows me. The great Antiochus, against whom I'm too little to contend, since he so great can make his will his act, will think me speaking, though I swear to silence. Nor boots it me to say I honor him, if he may suspect I dishonor him. And what may make him blush in being known, he'll stop the course by which it might be known. With hostile forces he'll o'erspread the land, and with the astent of war will look so huge, amazement shall drive courage from the state. Our men be vanquished ere they do resist, and subjects punished that ne'er thought offense. Which care for them, not pity of myself, whom no more but as the tops of trees which fence the roots they grow by and defend them. Makes both my body pine and soul to languish, and punish that before that he would punish.
Joy and all comfort in your sacred breast.
And keep your mind till you return to us, peaceful and comfortable.
Peace, peace, and give experience tongue. They do abuse the king, not flatter him. For flattery is the bellows, blows up sin, the thing which is flattered but a spark, to which the blast gives heat and stronger glowing. Whereas reproof obedient and in order, fits king, for there are men, as they may err. Prince, pardon me or strike me if you please, I cannot be much lower than my knees.
I'll leave ourselves. Helicanus, thou hast moved us. What seest thou in our looks?
An angry brow, dread lord.
If there be such a dart in prince's frowns, how durst thy tongue move anger to our face?
How dare the plants look up to heaven, from whence they have their nourishment?
Knowest I have the power to take thy life from thee?
I have ground the axe myself. Do you but strike the blow?
Rise, prithee, rise. Sit down. Thou art no flatterer. I thank thee for it. Heaven forbid kings' ears should hear their faults hid. Fit counselor and servant to a prince, who by thy wisdom makest a prince thy servant. What wouldst thou have me do?
To bear with patience such griefs as you yourself do lay upon yourself.
Thou speakest like a physician, Helicanus, that ministerst a potion unto me that thou thyself would tremble to receive. Attend me then. I went to Antioch, where, as thou knowest, I sought the purchase of a most glorious beauty. Her face was to mine eye beyond all wonder. The rest, hearken thine ear, as foul as incest. which by my knowledge found the sinful father seemed not to strike but smooth. But thou knowest this. 'Tis time to fear when tyrants seem to kiss. Such so fear ruin me, I hither fled under the covering of a careful knight who seemed my good protector. And being here bethought me what was past and what might succeed. I knew him tyrannous, and tyrants' fears decrease not, but grow faster than the years. And should he doubt it, as no doubt he doth, that I should open to the listening air how many worthy princes' bloods were shed to keep his bed of incest unlaid ope. Lot that doubt, he'll fill this land with arms and make the pretense of wrong I have done him. Which all for one, if I may take offense, must feel war's blow who spares not innocence. Which love to all of which thyself art one. Now reprovest me for it.
Alas, sir!
Sleep from mine eyes, blood from my cheeks, musings into my mind on how to stop the tempest ere he came. And finding little comfort to relieve them, I thought it princely charity to grieve them.
Well, my lord, since you have given me leave to speak, freely will I speak. Antiochus you fear, and justly too. I think you fear the tyrant, who either by public war or private treason will take away your life. Therefore, my lord, go travel for a while, till that his rage and anger be forgot, or till the destinies do cut his thread of life. Your rule direct to any, if to me. Day serves, not light, more faithful than I'll be.
I do not doubt thy faith. But should he wrong my liberties in my absence?
We'll mingle our bloods together, from whence we had our being and our birth.
Tyre, I now look from thee then, and intend my travel to Tarsus, whereby I'll hear from thee, and by whose letters I'll dispose myself. The care I had and have on subjects good I now lay upon thee, whose wisdom strength can bear it. I'll take thy word for faith, not ask thine oath, for he that shuns not to break one will sure crack both. But in our orbs will live so round in safe amazement shall drive courage from this state. Thou show'st a subject shine, I a true prince.
My DIONYZA, shall we rest us here and by relating tales of others' grief see if 'twill teach us to forget our own?
That were to blow at fire and hope to quench it. For who digs hills because they do aspire, throws down one mountain to cast up higher. My distress, Lord, even such our griefs are. Here they're but felt and seen with mischief's eyes, but like two groves being topped, they higher rise.
DIONYZA, who wanteth food, and will not say he wants it, or can conceal his hunger till he famish? This Tarsus, o'er which I have the government, a city on whom plenty held full hand, for riches stewed himself even in these streets, whose towers bore heads so high they touched the clouds, and strangers near beheld but wondered at. But see what heaven can do by this our change. These mouths who but of late earth, sea, and air were all too little, too content and pleased. They are now starved for want of exercise. Here many sink, yet those who see them fall have scarce strength left to give them burial. Is this not true?
Our cheeks and hollow eyes do witness it.
Where's the Lord Governor?
Here, speak out thy sorrows which thou bringest in haste. The comfort is too far for us to expect.
We have descried upon our neighboring shores a portly sail of ships make hitherward.
I thought as much. One sorrow never comes, but brings an heir that may succeed his inheritor. And so, in ours, some neighboring nation, taking advantage of our misery, hath stuffed these hollow vessels with their power, to beat us down, the which are down already. But bring they what they will and what they can. What need we fear? The ground's the lowest, and we are halfway there. Go tell their general we attend him here, to know for what he comes, and whence he comes, and what he craves.
I go, my lord.
Welcome is peace, if he on peace consist. If wars, we are unable to resist.
Lord Governor, for so we hear you are, we have heard your miseries as far as Tyre and seen the desolation of your streets. We come not to add sorrow to your tears, but to relieve them of their heavy load. Here are ships stored with corn to make your needy bread and feed those whom hunger starved half dead. We look not for reverence, but for love. And for harborage of ourselves, our ships and men.
To which any shall not gratify, or pay you with unthankfulness and thought, be it our wives, our children, or ourselves, the curse of heaven and men succeed their evils, till when, the which I hope shall ne'er be seen, your grace is welcome to our town and us.
Which welcome we'll accept. Feast here a while, until our stars that frown lend us a smile.
Good helicane that stayed at home, not to eat honey like a drone, from others' laborers, for though he strive to kill and bad, keep good alive, and to fulfill his prince desire, sends word of all that haps in Tyre.
Our THALIARD came full bent with sin and full intent to murder him.
And that in Tarsus was not best longer for him to make his rest.
He doing so put forth to seize.
Where have men been? Their soul to muse.
For now the wind begins to blow.
Thunder above
and deep below. Make such unquiet that the ship should house him safe is wrecked and split.
And he, good prince, having all lost, by waves from coast to coast is tossed.
All perishing of man, of pelf, nay not escaping but himself.
Till fortune tired with doing bad, threw him ashore to give him glad. And here he comes, what shall be next? Pardon, old chorus, this longs the text.
Yet cease your ire, you angry stars of heaven! Wind, rain, thunder, remember earthly man is but a substance that must yield to you, and I, as befits my nature, do obey you. Alas, the sea hath cast me on the rocks, washed me from shore to shore, left me breath with nothing to think on but ensuing death. Let it suffice to the greatness of your powers that have bereft a prince of all his fortunes, and having thrown him from his watery grave here to have death in peace is all he'll crave.
What ho, Pilch?
Hop coming with the nets.
What patch breach, I say?
Faith, master, I am thinking of the poor men that were cast away before us even now.
Alas, poor souls. It grieved my heart to hear what pitiful cries they made to us to help them, when, well a day, we could scarce help ourselves.
Nay, master, said not I as much when I saw the porpoise, how he bounced and tumbled? They say they're half fish, half flesh. A plague on them. They ne'er come, but I look to be washed. Master, I marvel how the fishies live in the sea.
Why, as men do a land, the great ones eat up the little ones. I can compare our rich misers to nothing so fitly as to a whale. A plays and tumbles, driving the poor fry before him, and at last devours them all at a mouthful. Such rails have I heard on all the land, who never leave gaping till they swallow the whole parish, church, steeple, bells, and all.
Pretty moral.
But master, if I'd been the sexton, I would have been that day in the belfry.
Why, man?
Because he should have swallowed me too. And when I had been in his belly, I would have kept such a jangling of the bells. He should ne'er have left till he cast bells, steeple, church, and parish up again. But if good King SIMONIDES were of my mind, we would purge the land of these drones that rob the bee of her honey.
Peace be at your labor, honest.
Honest good fellow, what is it?
They see the sea hath cast upon your coast.
Huh. What a drunken knave was the sea to cast thee in our way.
Man whom both the waters and the wind in that vast tennis court have made the ball for them to play upon. He entreats you pity him. He asks of you that never used to beg.
No, friend, cannot you beg? Your Zem in our country, Greece, gets more with begging than we can do with working.
Canst thou catch any fish then?
Never practiced it.
Nay, then thou wilt starve for sure, for here's nothing to be caught nowadays unless thou canst fish for it.
What I have been, I have forgot to know. Yet what I am, one teaches me to think on. A man thronged up with cold. My veins are chill. I have little of life than may suffice to give my tongue that heat to ask your help. Which, if you shall refuse that I am man, when I am dead, pray see me buried.
Die, quotha. Now gods forbid. I have a gown here. Come, put it on. Keep thee warm. Now, afore me, handsome fellow. Come, thou shalt go home, and we'll have flesh for holidays, fish for fasting days, more your puddings and flapjacks, and thou shalt be welcome.
I thank you for it.
Hark you, my friend, you said you could not beg.
I did but crave. How well their honest mirth becomes their labor.
Thank you, sir. Do you know where you are?
Not well.
Why, I'll tell you. This is called the Pentapolis, and our king, the good Simonides.
The good Simonides, do you call him?
Aye, sir, and he deserves so to be called for his peaceable reign and good government.
He is a happy king, since he gains from his subjects good the name of government. How far distant is his court from this shore?
Marry, sir, half a day's journey, and I'll tell you, he hath a fair daughter, and tomorrow is her birthday, and there are princes and knights come from all parts of the world to joust and tourney for her love.
Were my fortunes equal to my desires, I could but wish to make one there.
Help, master, help! Here's some fishings in the net like a poor man's right in the lock. Twill hardly come up. Thoughts on it, 'tis come at last, and 'tis turned into a rusty armor.
Armor, friends, I pray you let me see it. Yet that after all of our crosses, thou hast given me somewhat to repair myself. Though it was mine own part of mine own heritage, which my dead father did bequeath to me, it kept where I kept, I so loved it dearly, till the rough seas, who spare not any man, took it from me in rage, though have calmed, have given it again. I thank thee for it. Now my shipwreck knows no ill, since here I have my father's gifts in's will.
What mean you, sir?
Oh, to beg of you, kind friends, this coat of worth, for it was sometime target to a king. I know it by this mark. He loved me dearly, and for his sake I wish the having of it. And that you guide me to your sovereign's court, where with it I shall appear a gentleman. And if ever my low fortune's better, I'll pay your bounties. Till then, rest your debtor.
Why, wilt thou tourney for the lady?
I'll show the virtue I have borne in arms.
Why, do take it, and the gods give thee good aunt.
Aye, but hark you, my friend, 'twas we that made up this garment through the rough seams of the waters. There are certain condolements, certain veils. I hope, sir, if you thrive, you'll remember whence you had it.
Believed I will.
We'll sure provide, and I'll bring thee to the court myself.
Then honor be but a goal to my will. This day I'll rise, else add ill to ill.
Are the knights ready to begin the triumph?
They are, my liege, and stay are coming to present themselves.
Return then. We are ready, and our daughter, in honor of whose births these triumphs are, sits here like beauty's child, whom nature gat for men to see, and seeing, wonder at.
It pleaseth you, my royal father, to express my commendations great, though whose merits less.
It's fit it should be so, for princes are a model which heaven makes like to itself. As jewels lose their glory if neglected, so princes their renowns if not respected. And which is the sixth and last, the knight himself with such a graceful courtesy delivered?
He seems to be a stranger, but his present is a withered branch that's only green at top. The motto, in hoc spe vivo, in this hope I live.
A pretty moral. From the dejected state wherein he is, he hopes by you his fortunes may yet flourish.
He had need better than his outward show, can any way speak of his just commends, for by his rusty outside he appears to have practiced more the whiff-talk than the lance.
Opinion's but a fool that makes us scan the outward habit by the inward man. But stay, the knights are coming and we will withdraw into the gallery.
Ah!
Oh! Ha! Ha!
To say you're welcome would be superfluous. Prepare for mirth becomes a feast. You are princes and my guests.
But you, my knight and guest, to whom this wreath of victory I bestow, and crown you king of this day's happiness.
More by fortune, lady, than by merit.
Call it by what you will. The day is yours. And here I hope is none that envies it. In framing an artist, art hath thus decreed to make some good, but others to exceed. And you, your labored scholar. Come, queen of the feast, for daughter so you are. Here, take your place. Marshal the rest. They deserve their grace.
We are honored not by good quantities.
Your presence glads our days. Honor we love, for who hates honor hates the gods above. Sit, sir, sit.
Sure, he's a gallant gentleman.
He's but a country gentleman, has done no more than other knights have done, has broken a staff or so let it pass.
To me, he's like diamond to glass.
To me, like my father's picture. Tells me in the glory that once he was, had princes sit like stars about his throne, he the sun for them to reverence upon. None that beheld him, but like lesser lights, did veil their crowns to his supremacy. Where now I see his sons like a glowworm in the light, who hath fire and darkness, but none in light. Whereby I see that time's the king of men. He is both their father, and he is their grave, and he gives them what he wills, not what they crave.
What, are you merry knights?
Who can be other in this royal presence?
Yet pause a while. Yon knight doth sit too melancholy, as if the entertainment in our court had not a show that might countervail his worth. Note it not you, THAISA.
What is it to me, my father?
Oh, attend, my daughter. Princes in this should live like gods above, who freely give to everyone that comes to honor them. Therefore, to make his entrance the more sweet, here, say we drink this standing bowl of wine to him.
Alas, my father, it befits not me unto a stranger knight to be so bold. He may my proffer take for an offense, since men take women's gifts for impudence.
Oh, do as I bid, or you'll move me else.
Nigh by the gods, he could not please me better.
And furthermore, tell him we inquire to know of him, whence he is his name and parentage.
The king, my father, sir, has drunk to you.
I thank him.
Wishing it so much blood unto your life.
I thank both him and you, and pledge him freely.
And furthermore, he wishes to know of you, of whence you are, your name and parentage.
My name, PERICLES, a gentleman of Tyre. My education been in arts and arms, who, seeking adventures in the world, was reft of both ships and men, and after shipwreck driven upon your shore.
He thanks your grace, names himself Pericles, a gentleman of Tyre, which only by the misfortune of the seas, bereft of ships and men, cast on the shore.
Now, by the gods, I pity his misfortune, and will awake him from his melancholy. Come, Gentlemen, we sit too long on trifles, which waste the time that looks for other revels. Even in your armors, as you are dressed, will very well become a soldier's dance. Unclasp, unclasp. Thanks, gentlemen, to all. All have done well, but you the best. Pages and knights, conduct these knights into their several lodgings. Yours, sir, we have given order to be next to our own.
Oh, I am at your grace's pleasure.
Princes, it is too late to talk of love, and that's the mark I know you level at. Therefore, each one partake him to his rest. Tomorrow, for all speeding, do their best.
No, Aeschines, know this of me. Antiochus from incest lived not free, for which the most high gods, not minding longer to withhold the vengeance that they had in store, due to his heinous capital offense, even in the heightened pride of all his glory, when he was seated in a chariot of inestimable value, and his daughter with him, a fire from heaven came and shriveled up their bodies, even to loathing, for they so stunk, that all the eyes adored their ere their fall. Scorn now their hands should give them burial.
It was very strange.
And yet but justice. For though this king were great, his greatness was no guard. To bar heaven's shaft, but sin had his reward.
'Tis very true.
Follow me then, Lord Helicane. A word.
With me? Oh, and welcome. Happy day, my lords.
Know that our griefs are risen to the top, and now at length they overflow from their banks.
Your griefs? For what? Wrong not your prince you love.
Wrong not yourself then, noble Helicane, but if the prince do live, let us salute him, or know what grounds made happy by his breath. If in the world he lives, we'll seek him out. If in his grave he rest, we'll find him there. Or be resolved he lives to govern us, or dead gives cause to mourn his funeral, and leaves us to our free election.
Whose death indeed the strongest in our censure, and knowing this kingdom is without a head, like goodly buildings left without a roof, soon fall to ruin. Your noble self, that best know how to rule and how to reign, we thus submit unto our sovereign.
Live,
noble
Helicane.
Honor's case, forbear your suffrages. If that you love Prince Pericles, forbear. A 12-month longer, let me entreat you to forbear the absence of your king. If in which time expired, he not return, I shall with aged patience bear your yoke.
To wisdom he's a fool that will not yield, since good Lord Helicane joineth us.
Then you love us, we, you, and will clasp hands. When pierced thus knit, a kingdom ever stands.
Now, to my daughter's letter. She tells me here, she wed the stranger knight, or nevermore to view nor day nor light. 'Tis well, princess, your choice agrees with mine. I like that well, nay, how absolute she is, not minding whether I dislike or no. Well, I do commend her choice, and will no longer have it be delayed. Oh, soft, here he comes, I must dissemble it.
All fortune to the good Simonides.
To you as much, sir. Let me ask you one thing. What do you think of my daughter, sir?
A most virtuous princess.
And she is fair, too, is she not?
As fair as a summer's day, wondrous fair.
Sir, my daughter thinks very highly of you. Indeed, so much so that you must be her schoolmaster, and she will be your scholar. Therefore, look to it.
I am unworthy for her schoolmaster.
She thinks not so. Peruse this writing else.
What's here? A letter that she loves the knight of Tyre? 'Tis the king's subtlety to have my life. Oh, seek not to entrap me, gracious lord, a stranger and distressed gentleman that never aimed so high to love your daughter, but bent all offices to honor her.
Thou hast bewitched my daughter, and thou art a villain.
By the gods, I have not.
Traitor, thou liest.
Traitor!
Aye, traitor.
Even in his throat, unless it be the king that calls me traitor, I return the lie.
Now, by the gods, I do applaud his courage.
My actions are as noble as my thoughts, that never relished a base of dissent. I came unto your court for honor's cause, not to be a rebel to her state. And he that otherwise accounts of me, this sword shall prove he's honor's enemy.
No, here comes my daughter. She can witness it.
Then, as you are virtuous as fair, resolve your angry father, if my tongue did e'er solicit, nor my hand subscribe any syllable that made love to you.
Why, sir, say if you had. Who takes offense at that would make me glad?
Ye mistress, must you be so peremptory? I'll tame you! I'll bring you into subjection. Will you, not having my consent, bestow your love and your affections upon a stranger who, for aught I know, nor can I think the contrary, may be ingrate in blood as myself? Therefore, hear you, mistress! Either frame your will to mine, and you, sir, hear you. Either be ruled by me, or I will make you man and wife. Nay, come, your hands and lips must seal it too, and being bound, I'll thus your hopes destroy. And for a further grief, God give you joy. What, are you both pleased?
Yes, if you love me, sir.
Even as my life or blood that fosters it.
What, are you both agreed?
Yes, if it please your majesty.
It pleaseth me so well that I will see you wed, and then with what haste you can, get you to bed.
Now sleepy slacked hath the rout, no din but snores the house about.
Made louder by the overfed breast of this most pompous marriage feast.
Hymen hath brought the bride to bed. There, by the loss of maidenhead, a babe is molded.
Aww. At last from Tyre, news answering the most strange inquire. To the court of King Simonides are letters brought, the tenor these.
Antiochus and his daughter dead, the men of Tyrus on the head of HELICANUS would set on the crown of Tyre, but I will none. The mutiny I their haste to oppress, say to him, if King Pericles come not in twice 6 moons, I, obedient to their dooms, will take the crown.
The sum of this brought hither to Pentapolis. You ravish the regions around, and everyone with claps can sound.
Her heir apparent is a king.
Who dreamed? Who thought of such a thing? Brief, he must hence depart to Tyre.
His queen with child makes her desire, which who shall cross along to go?
Omit we all their dole and woe.
Lycorda her nurse she takes, and so to sea.
Their vessel shakes. On Neptune's billow, half the flood, half their keel cut, but fortune's mood varies again.
The gristled north disgorges such a temptress forth that as a duck for life dives, so up and down the poor ship drives.
The lady shrieks and does does fall in travail with her fear.
And what ensues in this fell storm shall for itself perform.
I nil relate, action may conveniently the rest convey, which might not what by me is told, in your imagination hold, this stage the ship, upon whose deck the sea-tossed Pericles appears to speak.
Thou God of this great vast, rebuke these surges, which wash both heaven and hell, and thou, that hast upon the wind's command, bind them in brass, having called them from the deep. Oh, still thy deafening, dreadful thunders gently quench thy nimble sulphurous flashes. Oh, how, Lycorda, how does my queen, thou stormest venomously without spittle thyself. Lycorda, oh, divinest patroness, those that cry by night, convey thy deity aboard our dancing boat and make swift the pangs of my queen's travails. Now, Lycorda.
Here is a thing too young for such a place, who, if it had conceit, would die, as I am like to do. Take in your arms this piece of your dead queen.
How, Lycorda?
Patience, good sir, do not assist the storm. Here's all that is left living of your queen, a little daughter. For the sake of it, be manly and take comfort.
Oh, you gods! Why do you make us love your goodly gifts and snatch them straight away?
Patience, good sir, even for this charge.
For a more blusterous birth had never babe. Quiet and gentle thy conditions. Thou art the rudeliest welcome that e'er was prince's child. Happy what follows.
What courage, sir? God save you.
Courage enough. I do not fear the flaw. It hath done me to the worst. Yet, for the love of this infant, this fresh new seafarer, I would it were quiet.
Slack the bowlines there! Thou wilt not, wilt thou? Blow and split thyself.
But serum and the brine and a cloudy bill kiss the moon, I care not.
Sir, your queen must overboard. The sea works high, the wind is loud, and will not lie till the ship be cleared of the dead.
That's your superstition.
Pardon us, sir. With us at sea it hath been still observed, and we are strong in custom. Therefore, briefly yield her, for she must overboard.
As you think meet.
Here she lies, sir.
A terrible childbed hast thou had, my dear. No light, no fire, the unfriendly elements forgot thee utterly. Nor have I time to give thee hollow to thy grave, but straight must cast thee in the ooze. Oh, Lycorda. Bid Nestor bring me spices, ink, and paper, hide the babe on the pillow, whilst I say a priestly farewell to her. Suddenly, woman.
Sir, we have a chest beneath the hatches, cockles and bitumed ready.
I thank thee, mariner. Say, what coast is this?
We are near Tarsus.
Thither, gentle mariner, alter thy course for Tyre. When canst thou reach it?
By break of day, if the wind ceases.
No, Make for Tarsus, for the babe cannot hold out to Tyre. There I will visit Cleon and leave the babe at gentle nursing. Go thy ways, good mariner. I'll bring the body presently.
Philemon, ho!
Doth my lord call?
Get fire and meat for these poor men. 'Has been a turbulent and stormy night.
I have been in many, but such a night as this. Till now I near endured.
Give this to the apothecary, and tell me how it works.
Good morrow.
Good morrow to your lordship.
Gentlemen, why do you stir so early?
Sir, our lodgings standing bleak upon the sea shook as the earth did quake. The very principles did seem to rend, and all to topple. Pure surprise and fear made me quit the house.
But I much marvel that your lordship, having rich Tyre about you, should at these early hours shake off the golden slumber of repose. 'Tis most strange. Nature should be so conservant with pain.
I hold it ever. Virtue and cunning were endowments greater than nobleness and riches. Careless heirs made the two latter darken and expend, but immortality attends the former, making a man a god. 'Tis known I ever have studied physic, through a secret art by turning o'er authorities I have, together with my practice, made familiar to me and to my aid, the blessed infusions that dwell in vegetatives, in metals, in stones. And I can speak of the disturbances that nature works, and of her cures, which doth give me a more content in course of true delight, than to be thirsty after tottering honor, or tie my treasure up in silken bags to please the fool and death.
So lift there.
What is that?
Sir, even now did the sea toss upon our shore this chest. 'Tis of some wreck.
Set it down, let's look upon it.
'Tis like a coffin, sir.
Whatever it be, 'tis wondrous heavy. Wrench it open straight. 3, 2, 1. Oh, you most potent gods. What's here? Corpse.
Most strange.
Shrouded in cloth of state, balmed and entreasured with full bags of spices. A passport, too. Apollo, perfect me in the characters. Here I give to understand, if ever this coffin drive a land, I, King Pericles, have lost this queen. With all our mundane cost, who finds her, give her burying. She was the daughter of a king. Besides this treasure for a fee, the gods requite his charity. Thou livest, Pericles. Thou hast a heart that even cracks for woe. This chanced tonight.
Most likely, sir.
Nay, certainly tonight, for look how fresh she looks. They were too rough that threw her in the sea. Make a fire within. Fetch hither all my boxes in my closet. Death may usurp on nature many hours, yet the fire of life kindle again the o'erpressed spirits. I heard of an Egyptian that had 9 hours lying dead, who was by good appliance recovered. Well said, well said. The fire and cloths, the rough and woeful music that we have, cause it to sound, beseech you. The viol once more, how thou stirrest, thou block. The music there, I pray you, give her air. Gentlemen, this queen will live. A warmth breathes out of her. She hath not been entranced above 5 hours. See how she begins to blow into life's flower again.
Oh, The heavens, through you increase our wonder and set up your fame forever.
She's alive! Behold, her eyelids cases to those heavenly jewels which Pericles hath lost, begun to part their fringes of bright gold. The diamonds of a most praised water do appear to make the world twice rich. Live, and make us weep to hear your fate, fair creature, rare as you seem to be.
Oh, dear Diane, where am I? Where's my lord? What world is this?
Madam, this letter and some certain jewels lay with you in your coffer, which are now at your command. Know you the character?
It is my lord's. That I was shipped at sea I well remember, even in my eating time, but whether delivered, I cannot rightly say. But since King Pericles, my wedded lord, I'll ne'er see again, a vestal livery I'll take me to, and never more have joy again.
Madam, if this you purpose as ye speak, Diana's temple is not distant far, where you may abide till your date expire. Moreover, if you please, a niece of mine shall there attend you.
My recompense is thanks, that's all. Yet my goodwill is great, though the gift small.
Most honored Cleon, I must needs be gone. My 12 months are expired, and Tyre stands in a litigious peace. May you and your lady take from my heart all thankfulness, and may the gods make up the rest upon you.
Your shafts of fortune, though they hurt you mortally, yet glance full woundingly on us.
Oh, your sweet queen, that the strict fates had pleased and you had brought her hither. The blessed mine eyes with her.
We cannot but obey the powers above us. Could I rage and roar as doth the sea she lies in, and yet the end would be as 'tis. My gentle babe Marina, whom I have named her so, for she was born at sea, here I charge your charity with all, beseeching you that you give her princely training, so she may be mannered as she is born.
Fear not, my lord, but think. Your grace, which fed my country with your corn, for which the people's prayers still fall upon you, must in your child be thought on. If neglection should therein make me vile, the common body by you relieved would force me to my duty. But if to that my nature need a spur, the gods revenge it upon me and mine, to end of generation.
I believe you. Your honor and your goodness teach me to it without your vows. So, I take my leave. Good madam, make me blessed in the care of bringing up my child.
I have one myself, who shall not be more dear to my respect than yours, my lord.
My thanks and prayers, madam.
We'll bring your grace into the edge of the shore, then give you up to the masked Neptune and the gentlest winds of heaven.
I will embrace your offer. Come, dearest madam. Oh, no tears like Corrida, no tears. Look to your little mistress, on whose grace you may depend on hereafter.
Come, my lord.
Ladies and gentlemen, there will now be a 5-minute intermission. Act 2 of Pericles, Prince of Tyre will commence at 3:05. Once again, there will be a 5-minute intermission. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we're now back from intermission. We will now begin Act 2 of Pericles, Prince of Tyre.
Imagine Pericles arrived at Tyre, welcomed and settled to his own desire.
His woeful queen we leave at Ephesus, unto Diana there a votaress.
Now to MARINA bend your mind, whom our fast-growing scene must find at Tarsus.
And by Cleon trained in music, letters, who has gained of education all the grace, which makes her both the heart and place of general wonder.
But alack, that monster envy off the rack of earned praise Marina's life seeks to take off by treason's knife.
And in this kind hath our Cleon one daughter, and a wench full grown, even ripe for marriage right. This maid hight Phileton, and it is said for certain in our story, she would ever with Marina be.
Be it when she weave the sledded silk with fingers small, long, white as milk.
Or when she would with sharp needle wound the cambric, which she made more sound by hurting it. Or when to the lute she sang and made the night bird mute, that still records with moan.
Or when she would with a rich and constant pen veil to her mistress Diane, still Phileton contends in skill with absolute Marina.
Marina gets all praises, which are paid as debts and not as given.
This so darks in Phileton all graceful marks that Cleon's wife with envy rare a present murderer does prepare for good Marina.
That her daughter might stand peerless by the slaughter.
The sooner her vile thoughts to stead, like Horida our nurse, is dead.
What? No!
And cursed DIONYZA hath this pregnant instrument of wrath pressed for this blow.
DIONYZA does appear
With LEONINE, a murderer.
Thy oath remember, thou wast sworn to do it. 'Tis but a blow which never shall be known. Let not conscience, which is but inflaming of the bosom, inflame too nicely, nor let pity, which even women have cast off, melt thee, but be a soldier to thy purpose.
I will do it, yet she is a goodly creature.
The fitter then, the gods should have her. Here she comes, weeping for her only mistress' death. Thou art resolved.
I am resolved.
Oh, I will rob Tellus of her weed to strew thy green with flowers. Yellows, blues, the purple violets and marigolds shall hang as a carpet upon thy grave while summer days do last. Ay me, poor maid, born in a tempest when my mother died. This world to me is like a lasting storm, worrying me from my friends.
How now, Marina? Why do you keep alone? How chance my daughter is not with you? Don't consume your blood with sorrowing. You have a nurse in me. Lord, how your favors changed since this unprofitable woe. Come, give me your flowers. Air the sea, mar it. Walk with Leonine. The air is quick there. It pierces and sharpens the stomach. Come, Leonine. Take her by the arm, walk with her.
No, I pray you, I'll not bereave you of your servant.
Come, come. I love the king, your father, and yourself with more than a foreign heart. We every day expect him here, and when he shall return, he will repent the breath of his great voyage. Leonine, walk half an hour at the least. Remember what I said.
I warrant you, madam.
I'll leave you, my sweet lady, for a while. Pray, walk softly. Don't heat your blood. What? I must have a care for you.
My thanks, sweet madam. Is this wind westerly that blows?
Southwest.
When I was born, the wind was north.
Was it so?
My father, as nurse said, did never fear, but cried good seamen to the sailors, galling his kingly hands, hailing ropes, and clasping to a mast, endured a sea that almost burst the deck.
When was this?
When I was born.
Come, say your prayers.
What mean you?
If you require a little space for prayer, I grant it. Pray, but do not be tedious, for the gods are quick of ear, and I am sworn to do my work with haste.
Why will you kill me?
To satisfy my lady.
Why would she have me killed? Now, as I can remember by my troth, I never did her hurt in all my life. I never spake bad word, nor did ill turn to any living creature. Believe me, La, I never killed a mouse, nor hurt a fly. I trod upon a worm against my will, but I wept for it. How have I offended where in my life might give her any profit, or my death imply her any danger?
My commission is not to reason of the deed, but to do it.
You will not do it for all the world, I hope. You are well favored, and your looks for show you have a gentle heart. I saw you lately, when you caught hurt in parting to that fought good sooth, it showed well in you. Do so now. Your lady seeks my life, come you between, and save poor me the weaker.
I am sworn, and will resolve.
Hold, villain!
A prize! Half part, mates, half part! Come, let us have her aboard suddenly.
Stop! Let me down!
Those roguing thieves serve the great pirate Valdez, and they have seized Marina. Let her go. There's no hope she will return. I'll swear she's dead and thrown into the sea. But I'll see further. Perhaps they will but please themselves upon her and not carry her aboard. If she remain, whom they have ravished must be slain by me.
BOULT!
Sir!
Search the market narrowly. Natalie is full of galleons. We lost too much money last night by being too wenches.
We were never so much out of creatures. We have but poor 3, and they can do no more than they can do.
Therefore, let's have fresh ones. Whate'er we pay for them.
Aye, shall I search the market?
What else, man? The stuff we have, a strong wind will blow it to pieces. Oh, they are so pitifully sodden.
3,000 or 4,000 check-wins were a pretty proportion to live quietly, and so give over.
Why to give over, I pray you? Is it a shame to get when we are old?
Our credit comes not like the commodity, nor the commodity wages not like with the danger. Therefore, if in our youths we could pick up some pretty estate, twere not amiss to keep our door hatched. Besides, the sore terms we stand upon with the gods would be strong with us for giving over.
Other sorts offend as well as we.
As well as we? Aye, and better too, we offend worse. Neither is our profession any trade. It's no calling. Here comes BOULT.
Come your ways. Master, I've gone through this piece, you see. If you like her so. If not, I've lost my earnest.
BOULT, has she any qualities?
She has a good face, speaks well, and has excellent fine clothes. There's no further necessity of qualities that can make her be refused.
What's her price, BOULT?
I cannot be baited 1 doit of 1,000 pieces.
Well, follow me, my masters. You shall have your money presently. Wife, take her in, instruct her what she must do, that she may not be raw in her entertainment.
BOULT, take you the marks of her, the color of her hair, complexion, height, age. Get this done, as I command you.
Performance shall follow.
Alack, that LEONINE was so slack, so slow. He should have struck, not spoke. What have these pirates not enough barbarous had not o'erboard thrown me for to seek my mother?
Why lament you, pretty one?
That I am pretty.
Come, the gods have done their part in you.
I accuse them not.
You are light into my hands, where you are like to live.
The more my fault to escape his hands, where I was like to die.
Aye, and you shall live in pleasure.
No.
Yes, indeed shall you. What? Do you stop your ears?
Are you a woman?
What would you have me be, and I be not a woman?
An honest woman, or not a woman?
Marry, whip thee, gosling. I think I shall have something to do with you. Come, you're a young, foolish sapling, and must be bowed as I would have you.
The gods defend me!
If it please the gods to defend you by men, then men must comfort you, men must feed you, men must stir you up. Bolt returned. Now, sir, hast thou cried her throughout the market?
I have cried her almost to the number of her hairs, and I have drawn her picture with my voice.
And I prithee tell me, how dost thou find the inclination of the people, especially of the younger sort?
Faith, they listen to me as they would have hearkened their father's testaments.
We shall have him here tomorrow with his best ruff on. Pray you, come hither a while. You have fortunes coming upon you. Mark me! You must seem to do that fearfully which you commit willingly. Despise profit where you have most gain. To weep that you live as you do makes pity in your lovers. Seldom. That pity begets you a good opinion, and that opinion a mere profit.
I understand you not.
Come, young one, I like the manner of your garments well.
Aye,
Bolt?
by my faith, she shall not be changed yet.
Spend thou that in the town. Report what a sojourner we have. You'll lose nothing by custom. Oh, when nature flamed this piece, she meant thee a good turn. Therefore, say what a paragon she is, and thou hast the harvest out of thine own report.
I warrant you, mistress, thunder shall not so wake the beds of eels as my giving out her beauty stir up the lewdly inclined. I'll bring home some tonight.
Come your ways. Follow me.
If fires be hot, knives sharp, or waters deep, untied I still my virgin knot will keep. Diana, aid my purpose!
What have we to do with Diana? Pray you, will you go with us?
Pericles is once again thwarting the wayward seas.
Attended on by many a lord and knight.
His daughter, all his life's delight.
Well, sailing ships and bounteous winds have brought this king to Tarsus. Think his pilot thought, and so with his steerage shall your thoughts grow on, to fetch his daughter home, who first is gone.
Like motes and shadows, see them move wild, your ears unto your eyes, I'll reconcile.
Now Pericles, in sorrow all devoured, with sighs shot through, and biggest tears overshowered, leaves Tarsus and again embarks. He swears never to wash his face, nor cut his hairs. He puts on sackcloth and to sea.
Why are you foolish? Can it be undone?
Oh, DIONYZA, such a piece of slaughter the sun and moon near looked upon.
I think you'll turn a child again.
Were I chief lord of all this spacious world, I'd give it to undo the deed. Oh, lady, much less in blood than virtue, yet a princess to equal any single crown o'er the earth. The justice of compare. Oh, villain Leonine, whom thou hast poisoned too. If thou hast drunk to him, 'tid been a kindness, becoming well thy fact. What canst thou say when noble Pericles shall demand his child?
She is dead. Nurses are not the fates to foster it, nor ever to preserve. She died at night. I'll say so, who can cross it? Unless you play the pious innocent, and for an honest attribute cry out, she died by foul play.
Go too. Well. Of all the faults beneath the heavens, the gods do like this the worst.
Be one of those that thinks the petty wrens of Tarsus will fly hence and open this to Pericles. I do shame to think what a noble strain you are and how coward a spirit.
To such proceeding, whoever but his approbation added, though not his prime consent, he did not flow from honorable sources.
Be it so then. Yet none does know but you how she came dead, nor none can know. Leonine being gone, she did disdain my child, and stood between her and her fortunes. None would look on her, but cast their gazes on Marina's face while ours was blurted at and held a malkin. Not worth the time of day. It pierced me through. And though you call my course unnatural, you not your child, well loving, yet I find it greets me as an enterprise of kindness performed to your sole daughter.
Heavens forgive it.
And as for Pericles, what should he say? We wept after her hearse, and yet we mourn. Her monuments and epitaphs and glittering golden characters express a general praise to her and care in us. At whose expense 'tis done?
Thou art like the harpy, which to betray dost with thine angel's face, seize with thine eagle's talons.
And you are like one that superstitiously doth swear to the gods that winter kills the flies. Yet I know you'll do as I advise.
No visor does become dread villainy so well as soft and tender flattery. Let Pericles believe his daughter dead, and bear his courses to be ordered by Lady Fortune, while our scene must play his daughter's woe and heavy well-a-day in her unholy service. Patience then, and think you now are all in middle-en.
Did you ever hear the like?
No, nor shall it do in such a place as this, she being once gone.
But to have divinity preach there, did you ever dream of such a thing?
No. Come, I am for no more body houses. Shall we go hear the vessels sing?
I'll do anything now that is virtuous.
Well, I had rather twice the worth of her had she ne'er.
Fie upon her! She is able to freeze the god Priapus and undo a whole generation. We must either get her ravished or be rid of her, when she should do for her clients her fitment and do me the kindness of our profession. She has me her quirks, her reasons, her master reasons, her prayers, her needs, that she would make a Puritan of the devil if he should shapen a kiss of her.
Faith, I must ravish her, or she'll defraud us of all our cavaliers and make our swearers priests.
Now the pox upon her, green sickness for me.
Faith, there's no way to be rid on it but by the way to the pox. Here comes the Lord LYSIMACHUS disguised.
How now? How a dozen virginities?
Now the gods to bless your honor.
I'm glad to see your honor in good health.
You may so. 'Tis the better for you that your orders stand upon sound legs. How now? Wholesome equity have you that a man may deal with all and defy the surgeon?
We have one here, sir, if she would, but there never came her like in Mitylene.
If she'll do the deed of darkness, I will say.
Your honor knows what 'tis to say well enough.
Well, call forth.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, is she not a fair creature?
Hate you after a long voyage at sea. Well, there's for you. Now leave us.
I beseech your honor, give me leave. A word, and I'll have done presently.
I beseech you do.
First, I would have you note that this is an honorable man.
I desire to find him so that I may worthily note him.
Next, he is the governor of this country and a man whom I am bound to.
If he govern the country, you are bound to him indeed, but how honorable he is in that, no not.
Pray you, without any more virginal fencing, will you use him kindly? He will line your apron with gold.
What he will do graciously, I will thankfully receive.
How you done?
Come, we will leave his honor and her together. Go thy ways.
Now, pretty one, how long have you been at this trade?
What trade, sir?
I cannot name, or I shall offend.
Not be offended with my trade. Please you to name it.
How long have you been at this profession?
e'er since I can remember.
Did you go to it so young? Were you a gamester at 5 or 7?
Earlier too, sir, if now I be one.
Why, the house you dwell in proclaims you to be a creature of sale.
You know this house to be a place of such resort and will come into it? I hear say you are of honorable parts and are the governor of this place.
Why hath your principal made known unto you who I am?
Who is my principal?
Why, you herb woman, she that seeds seeds of roots and iniquity and shame. Oh, you have heard something of my power and so stand aloof for more serious wooing. But I protest to thee, pretty one, my authority shall not see thee or else look friendly upon thee. Come, bring me to some private place.
If you were born to honor, show it now. If put upon you, make the judgment good that thought you worthy of it.
How's this? How's this? Some more be sage?
For me, that am a maid, though most ungentle fortune hath placed me in this sty, where since I came diseases have been sold dearer than physic. Oh, that the gods would set me free from this unhallowed place, though they did change me to the meanest bird that flies in the purer air.
I did not think thou could have spoke so well, near dream thou couldst. Had I brought hither a corrupted mind, if thy speech had altered it, hold, here's gold for thee. Preserve in that clear way thou goest, and the gods strengthen thee.
The good gods preserve you.
For me be you taught in that. I came with no ill intent, for to me the very doors and windows savor vilely. Fare thee well, thou art a piece of virtue, and I doubt not by thy trading hath been noble. Here's more gold for thee. A curse upon him, die like a thief that robs thee of thy goodness. If thou dost hear from me, it shall be for thy good.
I beseech your honor, one piece for me.
Avaunt, thou damned doorkeeper, your house but for this virgin that doth profit would sink and overwhelm you. Go away.
How's this? We must take another course with you. If your peevish chastity, which is not with a breakfast in the cheapest of countries under the cope, should undo our whole household, let me be gelded like a spaniel. Come your ways.
How now? What's the matter?
Worse and worse, mistress. She has spoken holy words to Lord LYSIMACHUS.
Abominable!
She makes our profession as it were to stink afore the face of the gods.
Oh, Mary, hang her up forever!
The nobleman would have dealt with her like a nobleman, and she sent him away as cold as a snowball, saying his prayers too.
Take her away!
Hark, hark, you gods!
She conjures, away with her! Oh, but she had never come within my doors, Mary, hang you! She's born to undo us! Will you not go the way of womankind? Mary, come up my dish of chastity with rosemaries and bays!
Come, mistress. Come your ways, with me.
Prithee, tell me one thing first.
Come now, your one thing.
What canst thou wish thine enemy to be?
Why? When I could wish him to be my master, or rather, my mistress.
Neither of these are so bad as thou art, since they do better thee in their command. Thou holdst a place for which the painted fiend of hell would not in reputation change. Thou art the damned doorkeeper to every coistrel who comes inquiring for his tib. To the choleric fisting of every rogue thy ear is liable. Thy food is such as hath been belched on by infected lungs.
What would you have me do? Go to the wars? Would you? Where a man may serve 7 years for the loss of a leg and not money enough in the end to buy him a wooden one?
Do anything but this thou doest. Empty old receptacles or common shores of filth. Serve by indenture to the common hangman. Any of these ways are yet better than this. For what thou professest, a baboon, could he speak, would own a name too dear. Oh, that the gods would safely deliver me from this place. Here's gold for thee. If that thy master would gain by thee, proclaim that I can sing, weave, sew, and dance, with other virtues which I'll keep from boast. And I will undertake all these to teach. I doubt not that this populous city will yield many scholars.
Well, I will see what I can do for thee. If I can place thee, I will.
But amongst honest women?
Faith, my acquaintance lies little amongst them. But since my master and mistress have bought you, there's no going but by their consent. Therefore I'll make them acquainted with your purpose, and I doubt not, but I shall find them tractable enough. Come, I'll do for thee what I can. Come your ways.
MARINA thus the brothel scapes and chances into an honest house. Here we her place.
And to her father turn our thoughts again, where we left him on the sea.
We there him lost, whence, driven before the winds, he is arrived here where his daughter dwells, and on this coast suppose him now at anchor.
The city strived got Neptune's annual feast to keep, from whence LYSIMACHUS, our tyrant ship, is spies. His banner sable trimmed with rich expenses, and to him his barge with beaver hides. Hail, reverend sir, the gods preserve you.
And you, sir, to outlive the age I am, and die as I would do.
You wish me well. Being on shore, honoring Neptune's triumphs, seeing this goodly vessel ride before us, I made to it to know of whence you are.
First, what is your place?
I am the governor of this place you lie before.
Sir, our vessel is of Tyre. In it the king, a man for these 3 months, hath not spoken to anyone, nor taken sustenance to prorogue his grief.
Upon what ground is this distemperature?
'Twould be too tedious to repeat, but the main grief springs from the loss of a beloved daughter and a wife.
May we not see him?
You may, but bootless in your sight, he will not speak to any.
Yet let me obtain my wish.
Behold him. This was a goodly person, till the disaster that one mortal night drove him to this.
Hail, royal sir! The gods preserve you!
It is in vain. He will not speak to you.
Sir, we have a maid in Midland. I durst wager would win some words of him.
'Tis well be thought. She questionless with her sweet harmonies and other chosen attractions would allure and make a battery through his deafened parts, which now are midway stopped. She is all happy as the fairest of all, and with her fellow maids is now upon the leafy shelter that abuts against the island side.
Sure, all's effectless, yet nothing will omit that bears Recovery's name.
Oh, here's the lady that I sent for. Welcome, fair one. Is not a goodly presence?
She's a gallant lady.
She is such a one, that where I well assured came from a gentle, kind, and noble stock. I'd wish no better choice, and think me rarely wed. Fair one, all goodness and consistent bounty, except even here, wherein kingly patient. If thy prosperous and artificial feet can draw him, but to answer thee in aught, thy sacred sight shall receive such pay as thy desire can wish.
Sir, I will use my utmost skill in his recovery, provided that none but I and my companion maid be suffered to come near him.
Come, let us leave her, and the gods make her prosperous.
Hail, sir, my lord, lend ear. I am a maid, my lord, that ne'er before invited eyes but have been gazed on like a comet. She speaks, my lord, that maybe hath endured a grief might equal yours if both were justly weighed. A wayward fortune did malign my state. My deprivation was from ancestors who stood equivalent with mighty kings. But time hath rooted out my parentage, and to the world and awkward casualties bound me in servitude. I will desist. Something blows upon my cheek and whispers in mine ear, "Go not till he speak."
My fortunes, Parentage, good parentage, to equal mine. Was it not thus? What say you?
I shed, my lord. If you did know my parentage, you would not do me violence.
I do think so. Pray you, turn your eyes upon me. Were something like that. What countrywoman would hear of these shores?
No, nor of any shores. Yet I was mortally brought forth and am no other than I appear.
Oh, I am great with woe and shall deliver weeping. My dearest wife was like this maid, and such a one my daughter might have been. My queen square brows, her stature to an inch, as wand-like straight, her eyes as jewel-like encased as richly. Pace another Juno who starves the ears she feeds, and makes them hungry the more she gives them speech. Where do you live?
Where I am but a stranger, from the deck you may discern the place.
Where were you bred, and how achieved you these endowments which make you so rich to owe?
If I should tell my history, it would seem like lies disdained in the reporting.
Prithee, speak! Falseness cannot come from thee, for thou look'st modest as justice. Thou seemst a palace where the crowned truth can dwell in. I will believe thee by the syllable of what thee shall deliver, and make my senses credit thy relations to points that seemed impossible. What were thy friends? Didst thou not say when I did push thee back, which was when I perceived thee, that thou camest from a good descending?
So indeed I did.
Report thy parentage. I think thou saidst thou hast been tossed from wrong to injury, and that thou thoughtst thy griefs might equal mine if both were opened.
Some such thing I said, and said no more, but what my thoughts did warrant me was likely.
Tell thy story! If thine considered prove the 1,000th part of mine endurance, thou art a man, and I have suffered like a girl. If thou dost look like patience gazing on kings' graves, smiling extremity out of act. What were thy friends? How lost thou them? Thy name, most kind virgin, recount, I do beseech thee. Come, sit by me.
My name is MARINA.
Oh, I am mocked. And thou by some insensate god sent hither to make the world laugh at me.
Patience, good sir, or here I'll cease.
Nay, I'll be patient. Thou little knowest how thou dost startle me to call thyself Marina.
Name was given me by one that had some power. My father and a king.
How a king's daughter and called Marina?
You said you would believe me, but not to be a troubler of your peace, I'll end here.
Flesh and blood. Have you a working pulse and are no fairy? Motion will speak on. How came you to these parts, and wherefore called Marina?
Called Marina, for I was born at sea.
At sea? What mother?
My mother was the daughter of a king who died the minute I was born, as my good nurse Lycorida hath oft delivered weeping.
Oh, stop there a little. This is the rarest dream that ere dull sleep did mock sad fools withal. This cannot be. My daughter's buried. Motion, well, speak on. Where were you bred, and how came you to these parts? I'll hear you down to the bottom of your story and never interrupt you.
You scorn, believe me, 'twere best I did give o'er.
I will believe you by the syllable of what you shall deliver. Yet give me leave. How came you to these parts, and where were you bred?
King, my father, did in Tarsus leave me, till cruel Cleon with his wicked wife did seek to murder me. And having wooed a villain to attempt it, who having drawn to do it, a crew of pirates came and rescued me, brought me to Mitylene. But good sir, whither will you have me? Why do you weep? It may be you think me an impostor. No, good faith. I am the daughter to King Pericles, if good King Pericles be.
Oh, HELICANUS!
Calls my lord?
Thou art a grave and noble counselor, and most wise in general. Tell me, if thou canst, what maid is this, or what is like to be that thus hath made me weep?
I know not, but here in this regent, sir, of Mitylene, speaks nobly of her.
Never tell her parentage, being demanded that she would sit still and weep.
Oh, HELICANUS, strike me, honored sir, give me a gash, put me to present pain, lest this great sea of joys rushing upon me, o'erbear the shores of my mortality and drown me with their sweetness. Oh, come hither, thou that begett'st him that did thee beget, thou that wast born at sea, buried in Tarsus, and found at sea again. Oh, HELICANUS, down on thy knees and thank the gods as loud as thunder threatens us. This is MARINA. What was thy mother's name? Tell me but that, for truth can never be confirmed enough, though my doubts did ever sleep.
First, sir, I pray, what is your title?
I am PERICLES of Tyre, but tell me my drowned queen's name, for the rest you have said has been godlike perfect. The heir to another and kings, like to PERICLES, thy father.
Is it no more to be your daughter than to say my mother's name was THAISA? THAISA was my mother, who died the minute I began.
Oh, blessing on thee! Rise, thou art my child. Give me robes, HELICANUS, mine own. Mine own. He shall tell thee all, when thou shalt kneel and justify in knowledge. He is thy very princess. Who is this?
Sir, 'tis the governor of Mitylene, who, hearing of your melancholy state, did come to see you.
I will embrace you. Oh, give me fresh garments. I am wild in my beholding. Oh, heavens bless my girl. Tell HELICANUS, MARINA, tell him more point by point, for he seems to doubt. Oh, sure you are my daughter. But what music?
My lord, I hear none.
None. Music of the spheres. Listen, my MARINA.
It is not good to cross him. Give him way.
Rare sounds. Do you not hear?
My lord, I hear.
This heavenly music. It nips me under listening and brings thick slumber over my eyes. Oh, goodness.
A pillow for his head, so leave him all. Well, my companion friends,
My temple stands at Ephesus. Hie thee thither, and do upon mine altar sacrifice. There, when my maiden priests are met together, before the people all, reveal how thou at sea didst lose thy wife. To mourn thy crosses with thy daughters, call and give them repetition to the life. Or perform my bidding, or thou livest in woe. Do it, and happy, by my silver bow, awake, and tell thy dream.
Mortal Diane, goddess Argentine, I will obey thee. HELICANUS! My purpose was for Tarsus, there to strike the inhospitable Cleon. But I am for other service first. Towards Ephesus turn our blown sails, eftsoons I'll tell thee why. Shall we refresh us, sir, and give you gold upon your shore, for such provisions as you think our intents will need?
sir, with all my heart, and when you come ashore, I have another suit.
You shall prevail, were it to woo my daughter, for it seems you have been noble towards me.
Sir, lend me your arm.
Come.
Now our sands are almost run, more a little and then done.
This my last boon give me. For such a kindness must relieve me.
That you aptly will suppose, what pageantry, what feats, what shows.
What ministerly and pretty din the regent made in Mythline to greet the king.
So he thrived that he is promised to be wived to fair MARINA.
But in no wise, till he had done his sacrifice, as Diane bade.
Whereto being bound, the interim pray you, all confound.
In feathered briefness, sails are filled, and wishes fall out as they are willed.
At Ephesus the temple see our king and all his company. That he can hither come so soon is by your fancies thankful doom.
Hail Diane, to perform thy just command, I here confess myself the king of Tyre, who, frightened from his country, did wed at Pentopolis the fair THAISA. At sea, in childbed died she, but brought forth a maid child called MARINA. She at Tarsus was nursed with Cleon, who at 14 years he sought to murder. But her better stars brought her to Mytilene, gainst whose shore riding she brought the maid aboard us. And her fortunes she quickly made known herself my daughter.
Voice and favor. You are, oh, royal Pericles.
She dies, help, gentlemen.
Noble sir, if you have told Diana's altar true, this is your wife.
Reverend appear, no, I threw overboard with these very arms.
Upon this coast, I warned you.
'Tis most certain.
Look to the lady. Oh, she's but overjoyed. Early in blustering morn, this lady was thrown upon this shore. I opened the coffin, found there rich jewels, recovered her, and placed her here in Diana's temple.
May we see them?
Great sir, they shall be brought you to my house, whither I invite you. Look, THAISA is recovered.
Oh, let me look. If he be none of mine, my sanctity will to my sense bend no licentious ear, but curb it, spite to sing. Oh, my lord, are you not Pericles? Like him you spake, like him you are. Did you not name a birth, tempest, and death?
The voice of dead THAISA.
That THAISA am I, supposed dead and drowned.
Oh, immortal Diane, come be buried a second time within these arms.
Heart leaps to be gone into my mother's bosom.
Look who kneels here, flesh of thy flesh, THAISA, thy burden at sea and called MARINA, for she was yielded there.
Blessed and mine own.
So, on your patience evermore attending,
New joy
wait on you.
here our play has ending.
And that was Pericles, Prince of Tyre. If I could get the cast back on stage for a virtual curtain call. We're gonna take your questions now at this point. But before we do, so I just want to, if you have any questions for the company of Pericles, we'll spend about 5 or 10 minutes talking to you. So please feel free to drop them in the chat. What you're seeing right now is a brand new art form, Zoom theater, that is being invented by the people that you see on the screen, primarily this fantastic group of students. And before we go into any questions, I just wanted to take a minute to really point out how thoroughly impressed I am with the amount of talent, dedication, and courage that this group displayed. It blew my mind as an educator and as a director. So I didn't want to dive into a Q&A without first taking a moment to really say that you are looking at some of the American theater's best and brightest, and it gives this sort of crotchety old man a little bit more hope. So I have an eye on the chat. Please throw any questions you have up. I'm gonna just sort of start one. I'm gonna just get the ball rolling, and I'm gonna sort of drop one for the team. So this is a sort of a brand new art form. Like it's not film, it's not theater, it's Zoom theater. So how did this differ from the experience of performing a play live on stage? What were the pros? What were the cons? What was the process like? Pretty open-ended question. Anyone who wants to talk about their experience, just dive right in.
It was definitely different because with Zoom theater, you don't have the audiences. I mean, like in regular theater, the audience, you get laughed sometimes, you get their reaction, but in Zoom theater, you don't really get anything, so you have to try and just move forward without any of that and just try and not create, but just move on and try and, yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, great. Others?
I would say that it's interesting because it's such a combination of live theater and film, but in film you can go back if something goes wrong and redo it and you can watch it back, but if it's live and also on camera, you just have to, it can be extremely self-critical. You can be, oh, that really went poorly, but you have no idea how that read on the screen. So it's you have to learn from everybody around you and take notes from your directors and take compliments from your other actors, and that's really how you get the ball rolling and really get the art on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think another factor to that was, since you mentioned like kind of like about other people like feeding off of each other, kind of, we kind of have to really listen to each other and just like, I think, you know, since we don't have the audience and since we've never like met in real life either, like for the show, you really just have to like be engaged on here as much as you can and listen to everyone and kind of just absorb that into your performance.
I want to keep this ball rolling, but we're getting some questions coming into the chat now, which are actually more specific versions of the question that I asked. So from Quinn Hendel, what was it like to learn blocking and choreo online? Because we did do some staging for this. So what was that learning curve like for people?
I thought it was so much fun. Oh my gosh. Like online stuff, like when we did the like thunder above and deeps below, we got to like move our cameras around. So it's definitely, it creates like a whole different medium where like you can bring the audience with you, like, you know, because when you're on a stage and like there's a shipwreck, like there's no real like movement with that. Then we have our cameras and we can incorporate so much movement. So I really like that.
Right. And same here. There's like a lot of like your ideas are put into it. Like I would just tell Will like, should I do this and stuff? And I said something kind of dumb yesterday in the other Q&A. I should have clarified where I said like I kind of threw shade at my Radium Girls cast, but I want to clarify that. So what I meant was that in the other cast, like all our blocking was like specific. We had to we had to like spike every single thing, every single motion we did basically, or else the play wouldn't work. But here we can just like do whatever we want. We can just like, we basically made the show with Will.
Well, and that's, I mean, I didn't get a chance to see Radium Girls, but I think they were using a slightly more advanced technology where
yeah, exactly. So like
same space.
If we improved like with our movement at all, the show wouldn't work. So
got you.
Yeah, I think it's just like, just to add on to that, I think just I mentioned this last night, but obviously we're all pioneers in this new medium. No one's ever had to deal with this before. So I think everyone just has different approaches and we're all just doing the best we can. Like, I think the main thing I've taken away from this is just throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. And if it doesn't, the worst thing that's going to happen is you move on to the next thing.
Excellent. So again, getting slightly more specific, so this question has already sort of been kind of answered, but coming from both Harry Corless and Michelle Stone, they actually almost simultaneously asked the same question in the chat. So real synchronicity happening there. Was it hard to stay focused without actually seeing your fellow actors in person? And how did you stay focused? What did you do in order to keep yourself in it?
Yeah, I think you definitely have to create like an intimate relationship with your camera lens. And it's very difficult for me because with a lot of laptops, it's on the top, but mine is like over here on the left side. So it's so difficult. You want to look at your scene partner and you have to focus on the camera. So it just takes practice, focusing, like remembering you're there, you're right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you're behind, like when you're not in the scene, what I like to do is to stay focused, I try listening into the scenes that they're doing, and every single time I try finding like a different meaning to that scene and how it correlates with the main progressive arching story. And that keeps me entertained most of the time. So yeah.
Yeah, I think like connecting with the camera and like just like believing that like, yes, that's your scene partner right there. You're like connecting with them, you're talking to them, even though they're not like in the same room with you, you're still like able to like remembering that you're still connecting with them, even though you're very far away.
So sort of along that line, this is going to be a question for my knights and my Pericles. This is from Cassia Mitchell Lucero. How was the fight scene done? What was it like doing a fight scene from hundreds of miles away from each other?
For me, I was just one of the people in the really crazy fight. For me, it was a lot of I've done fight choreography before, not a whole lot, but I'm like kind of used to it ish. So there was a lot of some of the same moves like incorporated. Like there's like the punch. You're not punching someone, you're punching the camera, which seems super weird and super unnatural, but it looks way better if I'm going to try and punch Jeremiah and I try to punch his tile versus I'm punching the camera. Yeah, exactly. So I think like it's very unnatural, but it looks really great. So it was really fun. Yeah.
It all depends on the correlation from your movements to the camera itself, because like Viva said, if you do it anywhere else, you can't tell what you're doing. And then at the same time, a lot of it's trying not to damage your laptop while you're doing the fight. So yeah.
I want a camera just like right there, just to like show me what I look like doing all the moves into my laptop. Looking like
it was definitely difficult. We had to, because I kept thinking, geez, in person it would look so cool. So we had the difficult task of making it look so cool. And I think we did it. I think it was really cool, all the moves we had and all of the energy we put. I think we accomplished that task. So
I thought you all did really well. And just sort of speaking for a minute from the choreographer perspective, that in person stage combat is all about cueing and communication. Because you're not obviously if I was doing a fight since we're ragging on Jeremiah today, so if I was to try and fight with Jeremiah, I wouldn't be trying to actually kill Jeremiah. I would be trying to create a move that like if Jeremiah were fencing, if I was actually going to fence with him, I would just sort of like try and like keep myself as guarded as possible and just bap and then in. But on stage, it's all about sort of like bringing it around so he knows it's coming and so the audience knows it's coming. And so from that perspective, the process of actually building it is almost exactly the same. It's just about letting your partner know when each move is coming and where. And yeah, Leo, you brought the point up that the challenge now is not to damage your partner, but not to damage your technology. I'm just going through. So from Ava Diener, what was the hardest part of the show? And I'm just going to sort of open this up for everyone. What was the hardest part for people about this show?
I guess I would say the wrapping your mind around the fact that this is Zoom theater, because I don't know about anyone else, but I've never done Zoom theater. So like when I heard Zoom theater, I was like, Zoom theater, that's gonna be like so lame. Like honestly, like, how do you do Zoom theater? And then it took a little bit of getting used to. Like, well, it was like, oh, and I don't know, like it was hard to like try to get used to. Like I was literally like throwing butter knives at my wall until told me that's not safe, but it takes getting used to. At first, I was like, this is definitely insane. Like, we look like crazy people, but you eventually get your mind around it.
Yeah, I think the orientation is also weird too. On stage, if you're used to a stage theater, you orient yourself, you know, the audience, where the audience is, and you kind of know, like, always face the audience. But with Zoom, it's like, well, you don't know what you look like. You don't know how everyone sees you. So you have to kind of play around with different spaces and different ways and where you are in the camera. So that was very difficult.
Yeah, I also think, I don't know, for me, wrapping my head around Shakespeare is always difficult. So then combining that with like this whole new platform that not a lot of people have done, no one really did before the pandemic. I think just kind of combination of all those factors made it a very difficult process, but also definitely a very rewarding process at the same time.
I'm amazed I could memorize Shakespeare at all.
You all did really well at memorizing it. Well, and any thoughts on, because this is a play that people, I'm going to tack this question on, because this is a play that people don't see very often. There's actually, in the TV show Slings and Arrows, there's a joke. Pericles is listed amongst sort of a stream of plays, and one of the characters is, what's after the two Greeks? And they're like, no, it's by Shakespeare. So, I mean, what are your impressions about the play? Like, what did you take away from it? What was it like interacting with this piece that not many people do?
For me, it was, like, I remember like callbacks for Pericles. I was like Pericles, is that like the Odyssey? Like, what is that? Like, I don't know what that is. And yeah, it was just a whole new experience. Like, I have done a few Shakespeare plays before, but like, oh my God, this text is so hard. Like, I remember reading and like, what the heck am I saying? What am I saying? Which I think everyone can relate to. So yeah, it was, I think, so like a takeaway from this play. Yeah, it's very similar. I think Tori said this, who helped out with the play. It's very similar to Princess Bride in the sense that it's like, there's no like air. It's like, oh my gosh, there's like this guy having an affair with his daughter, and like, oh my gosh, there's 2 shipwrecks in like the span of like 10 pages. And yeah, so it's very exciting, but I also think it's kind of a perfect time to do this play, because not only do we need theater, but I think this play has themes that we could all use right now.
I mean, I did not know like anything about this show before, really, because I was like, I knew so when I would look for like a monologue or something, and I'd be scrolling through the various plays, and I'd be like, oh, like, and I just kind of like, I saw it, but I never really like thought much of it. But I thought, like, I never really like knew what the story was, but it's kind of bizarre and like a lot goes on, but I think it's very like, I don't know, I think it's a very fun story, and it's too bad it doesn't get told more, but obviously it's kind of a challenge, but it's a fun thing to like be a part of, and I'm just glad I got to be a part of that.
Yeah, this play was totally different from what I usually do. Like I've never done Shakespeare before this. Most of the plays I've done are bilingual plays. So very different, but I mean, it's good to try something new, and I definitely learned a lot from it. I would also say that this story is like kind of all over the place, but in a good way. And like, it's all over the place in the sense that it somehow makes a good story. Like, you have pirates, then you have a woman who revives someone, and then yeah. And so there's a bunch of randomness to it, but it just adds to the story, and it's good. Yeah.
Like, I've also never done Shakespeare before up until this point, so I don't have much to compare it on, but it was definitely insane. And literally up until Tech Week, I had no idea what was happening. I had no idea what I was saying. All I could do was like look through the script and be like, thank God I'm not Viva. Thank God I am not Paris. That would be
William
only thing I
too.
can think, because I don't know how she does it. Props to her, because like I struggled with. Yes, like you people who like had like 9 million likes, like props to you, because I have no idea what you're saying, but you look great doing it. So I don't know, but it was hard, and like a lot of times, like like we would like be breaking it down, and then like it would be like, what do you think this means? And I like have no idea. Don't ask me. Like challenge, but it's an experience. I'll say that.
And I just want to jump in and say that, like, yes, I think that's always the challenge when you're confronting a new Shakespeare text, but also like to everyone who in the company who this is your first Shakespeare play, like the rest of it is a cakewalk, I promise you. This is hard stuff. And I some friends of mine who were watching the show tonight actually texted me in the middle and were like, "Oh, everyone's so clear." So you did a really wonderful job of sort of conquering that challenge. I'm going to leave us with, we have one last question that I would like to leave the audience with. Was the choral work and doubling harder on Zoom than you think it would have been live? What was that like, playing multiple characters and working with sort of as a team, sort of with these direct address sections?
In my opinion, it was like easier because I had a few characters and I had to go from Lord to Knight to Escanes in like the matter of 3 pages. And I have my costume just like set over here. So I had to, it was easier because I turned off my camera, I put on the costume, and then I went on to the scene. And I don't know, in my opinion, it was easier.
Yeah, good.
People have been telling me to answer this one, so I guess I'll answer it. Yeah, for me, so I play all the bad guys, plus the swine guy who's annoying. And the first scene, I'm all in black with that big hood and I look like the Emperor from Star Wars. And that's it was tricky to do that, partially because I don't have a cloak. I'm not wearing a cloak for that. I'm just this with the hood up. It's nothing else. But it happens to be that on Zoom, my camera's so bad that it just puts the rest of my screen as black. I guess going from that kind of into Cleon, who's not the bad guy, but like the bad guy who's also a wimp at the same time. It's a big change. It's a big change. Kind of going from someone who's kind of a bloodlust god essentially to someone he's not really a bad guy, but he stands by while bad things happen, which makes him a bad guy. And then SIMONIDES is completely in a completely different direction. I think Will described him as the ultimate dad. That's kind of what I tried to portray. And so, yeah, completely different direction. I love that crown. That's my brother's crown. Thank you, brother, for letting me use that. And yeah, then PANDER is just kind of the other guy. He's the other guy. Yeah. Yeah, it was easy kind of changing between them because most of them are pretty far apart, or at least 5 or 6 pages apart. There is one section where I go from being Cleon to PANDER very quickly, and it's the right after the Cleon scene where I'm kind of down on the ground and everything, and that was a little tricky, kind of to get out of that mindset and out of that costume and to change my name and everything and just go back to being PANDER, kind of being, oh no, Marina didn't do what we wanted to, or we're ruined now. So yeah, that's kind of my personal look on it.
And I just want to jump in real quick, but that's also a really great example of sort of team ensemble work, because Rachel, the only line separating the Cleon scene and the PANDER scene is Rachel's bit of narration, and then the two Leo and Richie coming in and sort of acting shocked that they found holiness in this nightclub, and both of them, all 3 of them had marching orders of like, speak as slow as you can, give William as much time as you can. So sometimes it really is just sort of it's that sort of practical. Anyone else have a response to this question, or just general thoughts they want to share before we end it?
Well,
Ooh, yes,
I
please.
want to say that this is definitely an experience that I will never forget. One, because I'm pretty sure it's pretty obvious. Because it's on Zoom and I've never done anything like this. So this will go in my memory book. I'm going to, I don't know, make like a drawing Pericles and put it on my wall in my room or something. And I will hold on to this experience as tightly as I can.
On that,
made me cry.
I don't know that we'll top that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for trusting us with your children and letting them do this Shakespeare. They knocked it out of the park and they were such a joy. So please stay tuned. There's more NorCal SOTA programming coming next year. Please take a look at NorCal Resist. They came in and they gave us a wonderful lecture. They provided really wonderful context for the play. They do phenomenal humanitarian work and they need your help. Stay safe. We'll see you later.